David Letterman provided The Late Show with a memorable moment, walking out on a guest mid-interview. David Letterman provided fans with so many memorable moments on The Late Show. Along with great interviews, he always did his best to pounce on trending topics. Letterman and Leno clashed for years on getting guests at the perfect time, and caused a ratings battle between the two. In the following, we're going to take a look at a moment that has over 3 million views on YouTube. The interview sees David Letterman walking out, after a certain comedian delivers a strong punchline. To make matters that much more entertaining, the late comedian continues to interview herself, and fans loved every minute of it. For greater context as to why Letterman walked out, we have to go back to the guest's interview just prior to her time on The Late Show. This time, alongside CNN, the comedian herself decided to cut the interview short after the questions weren't to her liking. Joan Rivers had just walked out of her interview with CNN while trying to promote her book. So what prompted David Letterman to walk out his interview on The Late Show? Well, for context, we need to go back to the trending topic at the time, which was Joan Rivers walking out of her CNN interview, promoting her new book at the time. Most assumed the moment was a publicity stunt. The late comedian made it clear that was not her intent, as she didn't like the judgmental tone the interview took on. Rivers bashed the host, stating that she was not suited to take on entertainment-type interviews. The CNN interviewer was a news reporter and not an entertainment reporter, Rivers told The Wrap. She did not seem to understand we were talking about a comedy book and not the transcripts from the Nuremberg trial. Every question was an accusatory one designed to put me on the defensive. Although the interview started off well, things took a turn when the reporter questioned Rivers and her style, opting to wear fur. "You know, you have some shock value to you," Whitfield observed. "The cover of your book, you're wearing a fur and you knew that there would probably be animal rights activists." "This whole interview is turning into a defensive interview," Rivers replied. "Are you wearing leather shoes? Then shut up." Shortly after the viral interview, Rivers took to The Late Show. David Letterman of course decided to make light of the situation, providing his audience with a walk out of his own. David Letterman jokingly walked out of his Late Show interview with Joan Rivers, but his guest continued on like nothing happened. The interview aired back in July of 2014, and it quickly turned into a memorable one. David Letterman wasted no time at all asking Rivers about her CNN interview. The late comedian maintained her stance that the interviewer was very negative throughout their sit-down. Clearly, Rivers was her usual self alongside Letterman, and the CNN interview didn't faze her one bit either. However, Letterman did decide to have some fun of his own after Rivers delivered a great punchline that had fans buzzing. After the joke, Dave gets up, takes off his coat and walks off the set. What makes the moment that much better is the fact that Rivers continues to interview herself, and the fans loved every minute of it. The moment has 3.2 million views on YouTube, with the late comedian getting love from the fans. Joan's sense of humor and comedic skills were underrated. She was a real pro and funny to the end. Another fan writes, "Only Joan Rivers could interview herself and carry on a great conversation." It was a light-hearted interview for Letterman, but in truth, there were other interviews in the past that he legitimately wanted to walk away from. It wasn't the first time David Letterman cut an interview short, going to commercial during his sit-down with Crispin Glover. Dave's interview with Crispin Glover was as awkward as it gets. His guest was all over the place during their interview, showing off his wrestling and kicking skills. At one point, Dave almost loses his head thanks to Glover attempting a kick. At that point, Dave cuts to commercial abruptly and says, "I'm going to check on that top 10. That's it for today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.